What's up, everyone? So, I drove the 2015 WRX. I'm really excited I got to drive the car. It's funny, I actually went down to the dealership and they had a few. I was looking at, they had two 15 WRXs and one 15 STI. And I wasn't even going to ask to drive it because it's such a new car. I figured they weren't even going to do test drives. Since I wasn't ready to buy a car or planning on it, I didn't want to waste their time, but the salesman asked me, hey, you want to drive it? And I said, I'm not going to buy anything today, so is it still okay? He said, yeah, sure. So we went for a test drive. I was really excited to drive it because I wanted to get my opinions and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't have my GoPro with me, so I couldn't film. And plus, I didn't know if that'd be really appropriate to do on a test drive with the salesman. Additionally, I didn't get to drive the STI, unfortunately, because it was on their showroom floor and had no miles on it, so I wasn't able to drive that. The cars were at Subaru of Glendale, so if you guys are interested, you should go there and check them out. It was a blue STI, and the salesman name was, what was it? I'm already forgetting, but Heidi was his name. So hit up Heidi if you go check out the cars, because he was a really good salesman, really nice guy. So hit him up if you're in that area and you're looking for a Subaru. Continuing on with the video, it's going to be like my review of the 15 WRX, but unfortunately I can't be in the car like I said, so hopefully I can give you guys some insight of what I thought about the car and my impressions. So let's go ahead and get started. So when I first got in the car, obviously the first thing I was most interested in was the all-new revamped interior. Subaru really stepped up their game with the interior on the new 15 WRX and STI. The materials are a lot better, there's not as much plastics and stuff. The sound system is a lot better as a Harman Kardon. I haven't looked at all the breakdowns of the different packages, so I wasn't sure if the package I had it. The salesman said it did, but I'm not sure, because I know the push to start is apparently an option that only comes on unlimited, so according to the salesman. Like I said, I haven't researched all this stuff yet. I probably should have, but it's not really that pertinent. So, like I said, the one I drove had no push to start, but the key is all integrated now, which is kind of interesting. It's the key fob is part of the actual key, so all the controls are on the actual key, so you don't have your key and then the key fob. So some people like that. I personally don't really like it that much, but it's just the key. It's really not that serious. So I just thought it was interesting that Subaru would change something like that. Getting onto the interior of the car, the first thing I noticed I was most curious about were the seats. I heard that the seats were going to be extremely bolstered, more like a Recaro racing seat, kind of like I have here in my Evo 10. I got in the seats, and honestly, I was really surprised because the seats in the STI I sat in were flat. They did not hold me at all. I was kind of moving around a little bit. No real bolster support. The seats were really comfortable, but they weren't very supportive, and the headrest is now a separate piece. It's not like a true bucket seat. The headrest is a separate piece that can move up and down. What's interesting is the seats that sat in the STI were swayed down the middle and on the outside. For your reference, it was a base model STI. And the seats in the WRX were the standard cloth ones like you can get on the 08 to 14 models. And the seats in the WRX held me a lot better than the seats in the STI did, which really shocked me, because they said it was the same seat design, so I don't know if it was the material or what, but the bolsters felt a lot stiffer. I seemed to sink into the seat more, which is why maybe the bolsters held me better, and I just felt a lot more secure in the seats. Now, they weren't on par with the Recaros that are in my Evo, but they were still nice seats that were comfortable for everyday driving, which is what the car is meant for. It's more of a daily driver, and versus the Evo. But it was a really comfortable seat. The only thing I don't like is how the headrest is separate, but that's such a minimal thing. It's just my opinion. They should have kept it a bucket seat look, but it's really not that big of a deal. So moving on to the next thing was the steering wheel. The steering wheel was really nice. It kind of reminds me of the GT spec D-shaped wheel I had in my 2013 STI. It had a flat bottom, hence the name, D-shaped wheel. And it had a Subaru logo in the middle, and I don't think the WRX one says anything on the bottom part. The STI says the Subaru logo in the middle and has the STI logo on the bottom of the wheel. The wheel was comfortable, it had good grips for my hands, it had kind of curve for your thumbs, and it was just a really comfortable steering wheel. It was pretty thick, so I just felt really comfortable holding the steering wheel. The shifter was really, really interesting, because as you guys probably know, the WRX now has this new 6-speed manual transmission, or the CVT, 6-speed automatic transmission option. I was in the 6-speed manual, which they actually have the STI Duracon shift knob on it, which I thought was interesting that a lot of the models are apparently coming with that STI Duracon shift knob. So that's kind of cool. The shifter felt really tight and notchy. It's a really good feeling shifter. It was a lot tighter than how the older WRX ones, the outgoing model. It just felt a lot tighter, crisp gear shifts. It had that STI short throw, which felt great. And overall, I didn't have any issues finding gears. I knew what gear I was in at all times. Everything felt comfortable. So the gear shifter was amazing. The gauges are now switched from having the tack in the middle, your speedo on the right, and then your other array of like coolant temp and other stuff on the left. Now they switched to having 2 gauges. So your speedo is on the right, you have a little digital readout in the middle, and you have your attack on the left, which is also consisting of your coolant temp and I forget what the other one is. But to put the coolant temp right underneath 1,000 RPMs. So what's interesting and took a little bit of getting used to was that 1,000 RPMs in that car on the tack was around where 3K is on my Evo, because it was lifted up more. So like the red line is more, it's kind of like the 1,000 starts at about half of a circle, if that makes sense. So instead of starting like down here, it starts up there. So that took a little bit of getting used to, because watching the tack to shift, you know, I wasn't really, it took a little getting used to, you know, when you're, I looked down expecting to be at 3K, and it looks, I don't know. You just have to see it for yourself, but it wasn't a big deal. It just took a little bit of getting used to. An interesting design. The readout in the middle was cool. You know, it showed the odometer and everything. But the nicer digital readout was actually the boost gauge. So the boost gauge and the clock are right up in the middle, like on the old model, but it's more of a different design. And the boost gauge actually doubles as a backup camera. So when you put the car in reverse, boost gauge goes away and turns into a backup camera, which I thought was pretty nice that they finally did that. The backup camera has parking lines, and the model I was in didn't have any backup sensors. I'm not sure if that's an option, but it was nice to have that backup camera. It was a little small, but it was still better than nothing, because when you're in those tight spaces, those tight parking lots, it's nice to be able to kind of have an idea of how far away you are. And what's also nice is the lens for the camera is not too noticeable. It's not like on the Evo, it's just hideous, the backup camera. Which is I think why nobody gets them. But it was nice. It was right underneath the trunk trim, so it wasn't too in the way. Trying to think what else. The sound system, like I said, it sounded good. I didn't really turn it up too much, because the salesman and I were having a pretty nice conversation about the cars. But it sounded good. It had crisp sound. I turned up a little bit to hear it. It had, like I said, good sound just for the stock adjustments. The nav was the same as the one on the outgoing models. And same layout and same exact nav, nav. And like I said, it sounded good. You know, I felt like it had good clarity. Way better than the old sound system, that's for sure. Trying to think what else to cover before I get to the good stuff. So the handling on the car was tons better. The car felt a lot stiffer. Didn't feel like it had as much body roll. I took a few turns kind of fast on it to see how it felt, and it felt a lot tighter, and it felt like it gripped the ground a little more and just hugged it. It handle turns well, like I said, not as much body roll, not as much understeer. So that was kind of cool to see that they really did stiffen up the suspension a lot and make it sound. Also bear with those equal length headers. It sounds kind of cool. It still has a little bit of the rumble, a hint of the rumble, but it also has a good exhaust note for being stock. So that's what I thought was pretty cool too. But now to the good stuff, the engine. So how did the car feel in acceleration? The car actually felt strikingly similar to the outgoing model with the 2.5 liter EJ engine. The new model has the 2.0 liter FA engine out of the BRZ and the FRS. It accelerated very quickly, and it pulled a lot harder on the top end, which is, I think, from that twin scroll turbo that they also added. Acceleration felt pretty much the same as the old model. It felt just about as quick until you started to go like past 5,000 RPMs. It started to pull a lot harder, which is cool, because in the older outgoing models you kind of lose power after 5 on the stock tune, it felt like, but on this one it just pulled harder. I didn't take up to redline or anything, but the salesman said just to do a few pulls, so that's what we did, and it felt good. It was really quick for being stock, and I was impressed with it. They definitely did improve over the 14 WRX, so that's cool to see. The engine seems like it's a solid platform. One of my buddies, his buddy, a friend of a friend has one. He's apparently already making 450 wheel on a dyno jet on that engine on his 15 WRX. Mine's all over the place, guys, so I'm trying my best to stay on topic. But so that's cool to see. The engines look like they can hold some power, but we'll see for how long. So all in all, the car was a good experience to drive it. The looks, it's growing on me, but the car still has its angles where it looks a little bit weird to me. I prefer the rear end of the STI a lot more than the WRX because the wing just sets it off so much more. It looks a little bit bland without the wing. The front end, like I said, directly from the front, it looks pretty mean. It looks a lot more aggressive than the outgoing model did. The outgoing model looked like it was a little too happy and a little bit too friendly. This new model looks a lot more aggressive, which I think is something that the STI and the WRX need.
Caution, red light camera ahead.
Sorry, I guess there's a red light camera ahead. Good to know. And like I said, there's some angles, like if you're looking at it from the front side, it just looks a little bit too bulgy in the front. But it's really, it is growing on me the more and more I see it. So like I say, the more I see them on the road and stuff, I'm sure they will grow on me. The hood scoop is also a lot more subtle. It's apparently improved for performance, but it is a lot more subtle than on the outgoing model. Wow, that car is crazy fitment, yo. It's like past the fender. But like I said, guys, I think that's pretty much everything to cover. I'll try to make a video with an actual 15 WRX if I can. I'll have to ask the dealership for permission though and see if they say yes. But like I said, I'm pretty impressed with the car so far. Would I recommend it if you're looking for a comfortable all-wheel drive 4-door sedan for a daily driver? Yeah, I would. It's a really good car. It's fun. It's sporty. It's more nimble. And I haven't tried the automatic transmission yet, but I was impressed with the 6-speed, which apparently comes out of the BRZ. So that's kind of cool. But like I said, guys, so far I'd give the car probably a 4 out of 5 rating. It was a solid car. I enjoyed driving it. It did remind me a lot of, it sounds weird to say, it's a stupid thing to say, but it felt like I was in an older WRX, just completely revamped in some ways though. I still felt like I was in the old outgoing model, but just that it was improved. Like I didn't really notice any noticeable lag with the boost or anything. The boost gauge I wasn't really watching because it's kind of weird the way it's set up. I didn't really take a close look at it. But the interior, like I said, is tons better. I think you guys will enjoy the interior on the new car. And the exterior, everyone has their own taste on that. But yeah, it just feels like it's just completely redone, which it is, and it just feels a lot better than the outgoing model. I still prefer the looks of the outgoing model, but everything else is better about the newer model. So if you guys have a chance, or there's one near your dealership, you should go ahead and go check out the car and see what you think for yourself, because seeing it in person is a lot different than seeing it through pictures on the internet, I'll tell you that much. So hope this video is able to give some information to some of you guys about my impression of the 15 WRX. I hope I get to see more soon, like I said, and get some more footage of the car for you. I took some pictures, which I'll throw in at the end of the video here, of the STI, not the WRX. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the 15 WRX. Do you own one already? Have you seen one? What's your favorite color in it? I really like the red in the 15 WRX and STI. I think it really pops. I'm really glad they brought back that lightning red color. So, like I said, guys, that's the end of this video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.